Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. Shir sponsor Lui Nishmas Haviak Shalom Nebasitzchok. We're holding in Metzia Daf Lamed. The Gemara, we're starting in the first line on top. It says the Gemara, Shoytchol Tzorko V'Loy L'Tzchvoidoi. You can spread the clothing that he found for the benefit of the clothing, but not for his own honor. Says the Gemara, Ibailu L'Tzorkoi V'L'Tzorko Amai. What happens if he is benefiting from it? And there's also a benefit of the clothing. There's both benefits. Look at the beginning of the Mishnah. It does it for its own benefit. Masha only for its own benefit, but he cannot benefit from it as well. There's no for his own respect. You can't bring a rhyme for the Mishnah because the ratio sounds one way, save it sound another way. Don't put it on a bed. Don't put it like a type of a hanger. Let's do it for its own benefit. He has guests. So what does one understand? Don't put it in front of the guest, because when you do it in front of the guest, even though it's the benefit of the clothing, but it's also for your own benefit. The guest will see it, they'll say, "Psh, what a chasher person has such a chasher clothing." So you're doing also for your own benefit. So you can do both. That's what one understands. So no shani also the mikle kolile. They are going to ruin it. How? Either because of ayin hara, or mishum ganvo, because if they can know about that he has this thing, they can come and steal from it. So that's caused really damaging. That's why you can't do it. So no raya if you do it for both. We're talking about here, interesting that it's Machlokes Rashi Tosis. For what we're going to learn in the Sugya right now, there is enough Kamina, but according to what we're going to learn in the Sugya, there won't be enough Kamina. But Machlokes Rashi Tosis, what is Ravko? What do we talk about here? Ravko means the place where the animals are eating. Are we talking about Para Aduma, or are we talking about Egla Arufa? That's Machlokes Rashi Tosis. In both cases, a Para Aduma and an Egla Arufa, they're not allowed to be animals that we use for any malach. You're not allowed to use them. They cannot be used for anything. You can't benefit from it on your own thing. It has to be pure, and now you use that paraduma for the red calf for the shchita, and the egla rufa when a person was killed, we don't know who killed him. Now, the person he put the paraduma in the animal where the animals eat, the dasha, and she stepped on the tvua and did work in the field. Ksheru. Why? He wasn't intending to do it. It was lo b'chavan. But if he has also her benefit for her to be able to nurse from the mother, but also he has in his mind todush, he wants to have both. Psula. It's for her benefit, for his benefit. So one understands the same way it works by either Egla Rufa or Paradumo, it will apply the same way to Aveda. Also about the same idea. Well, no, Shani also, we're learning the way Rashi learns the Sukkah. So the Sukkah a little differently, the way the Acharonim explain it, but we're learning the way Rashi learns it. We'll stick to Rashi. Shani also, it says there was not done any work by it, even if it was done for its benefit as well. He said, one does, if he just learned that no work was done to it, so maybe say no work was done to it at all, even if it's for its own benefit. So yeah, it's compared to the following thing. If a bird stands on the animal, it's ksheru. But if a male cow, ox, was had a relation with her, went on top of her, then it's psula. Why? What's the difference between having a bird or having the zocher? My topic is because of ubad the Korean, or because of a Korean ubad, it says shaloi ubad ba wasn't worked on it. She didn't. In other words, she didn't carry anything. Even if it's done without his consent. The ovad the Korean ovad, he worked on it. It needs to be his own intention. But you, avad the Korean uvad. Now that it says ovad and you read it uvad. That's how you read it. Even though it says Ovad, it's saying it needs to be that he wants it, even if it's done mimele. Ma over the nichale, I put over the nichale. Similar to what we have regarding the liquid of what's it called? Regarding the liquid of that you have when you do a hechsher tuba. It needs to be that you want it. It doesn't have to be you want it originally, but it needs to be that you want it at least after the fact. So it's here. If he's happy, if he didn't do it himself, it happened on its own. But he's happy with it, so then it's a problem. That's when you have a zocher, but that's when he has any other benefit. But if the benefit is happening, when he does it, and he's not interested, like having a bird on top of the animal, he has no interest in the bird being on the animal. So then the din is the what? That nichal. So then it's not a problem. So that's a Rashi learns the sugi, meaning the sugi is really touching upon what we asked the question regarding Avedo. So let me bring you a raya from Paraduma, from Egla Rufo. It's like more, no, there's a special pasuk. It's different. So if the special pasuk is a sidebar, side point. So if so why would it not, he didn't know, he wasn't interested in it, is that? So like more, because it depends how you read the pasuk. So it was a side sugya after we compared it to Aveda. So by Metzia, we don't have a maskana, we don't have a raya. For Metzia. Because we said Paraduma is different. When you have silver or copper kalim, you can use them because it's for the benefit of the kli. Finds wooden kalim. Should not get rotten. Copper. She use it with hot. Not on fire. When you put it on fire, it gets dark. It gets used, ruined. Clay kesef, silver. Use cold water, not hot water, because the cold water makes it. When you put it in cold water, it doesn't ruin it, but hot ruins it. Makes it dark. Magrefas v'kardumas, different types of shovels and things they use. What? Hatches. Because you use it for soft, not for hard. Because again, you ruin it. Clay kese, clay zol, because if it's gold or glass, don't touch it because it doesn't get ruined and it can get broken very easily. The same when they say ba'avedo, it's also like pikadon, you should do all these things. So what pikadon ma'avid, why should he be using it? A guy came and deposited it by him. He's not supposed to touch it. The owners traveled overseas, and they're not here to take care of themselves. So then, the one who's the shomer needs to make sure to take care of this clay.
What's the difference if they're overseas or not? You use somebody and trust somebody as the responsibility.
No, so usually a trust Christian is not supposed to touch it because the owner will come whenever he wants, but here he doesn't have the option. It says, if he's not, what does it mean? As Rashi said in the Mishnah, talk about someone who's not, talk about a big, huge basket, big, huge sack, and he's an important person. He doesn't usually carry these things. So, how do we know the what? How do we know that that a person who is important does not have to do this work? The lashon pasuk is le'sir shor chamorcha b'derech, shor achil le'sir nidochim v'salam tomeh. So the way you read the pasuk in the pasuk shot is don't see and ignore. The ignore goes back to the no. Don't see and ignore. But you can put a comma. Don't see. And if you don't put the no together with ignore them. You can read it on its own. Ignore it. Because then say v'loy salam. This is salam to. Something you could ignore, something is not. Something you connect at the beginning of the pasuk, something is not. He was a kohen. When the Aveda is in the graveyard, he's close. He's an old man. It's not based on his covenant. Or there's more of a loss. If he doesn't have to do that, the amount of money his friend has to pay is much more. In other words, he's going to lose more than his friend is going to lose in order to save his own Aveda. His friend has the ability to do that. Or Rashi says the melach is greater than the aveda. Sometimes you have to ignore it. Why do you need a pasuk? We talk about a kohen in this kvaros pshito. There's a esed to go out, and the esed of the avedo is hashem teshivim. And by the kohen you have an esed and a loisase. The loisase nefesh leitam be'amov and gedoshim tiyu. So it's a esed against esed of loisase. So that's one. Second question with Tuloi Dachin Yisur K'Yamoina. That's a history, that's a moment. Now regarding the Esther Lois, there's a lot of Torah over here. Number one question, everybody should ask a question. Also by Avedi you have Esther Lois Ase. Hashem Teshivim Lois Suchali Salim. Why we ignore the Lois Suchali Salim over here? It's a Lois Suchali Salim. So at this time, the Gemara is saying that the Gemara understands that the Lois Suchali, so the way some of the Rishonim say, we'll say one way. There's many answers. One way the Rishonim say is, the love is not doiche anything. Only an S is doiche. S is doiche loisase. And what about S against S and loisase? That's not doiche. But the love doesn't play an effect over here. It doesn't push anything out. So you can't use it as part of the equation. So that's regarding that. Another question that Trace already points out over here is that this is S of loisase shein ashor b'koyin. The S and loisase are only b'koyani. The loy talim be'amov. So then you do say es is doichelos of es. So why here you don't say that? So that's again another big discussion. Let's leave that as a question. Says the Gemara, what we need the pasuk for is to tell you that if his money is more than avedo, he's going to lose. So then you don't have to do it. David Omarav, I've already learned that. David Omarav, Ephes, it says zero. Ephes means zero, but it means we have like a but. Kiloi, we learned that Lama base Kiloi Abachavir, which we learned from here, Apostle, we learned already earlier. You have to make sure not to be poor. A person needs to do ishtablis not to be poor. So don't lose your money for someone else's aveda. That's what you learn from here. That person comes before anybody else. We need the pasuk for us for an old man, which is not as covered for him to schlep. Okay, so that's a drasha, that's what we learn from there. If he hit the animal, so he's chayav. So here the Rishonim also, big discussion of the Rishonim. We talk about an animal that's moving, or even if he touched a non-movable item, just a kli. If he touched it, when he touched it, so now he's responsible for it. So he sees these goats going around. They're standing there with no owner. So he took a piece of earth and threw on them. Now you're responsible because you made them move, or because you threw on them something. So one question. It's normal for him to schlep these things outside in the field. But in the city, he doesn't schlep these things. You need to have a good ashova. The whole thing doesn't start. Because he has to schlep it from the field and bring it to the city. And the city is not supposed to carry it. Or dealing with sodim, he has to in the field, he still has to carry it. Later, I think more take. When the way that Chorim explain it, question when it says Hashem Teshivim, you know, the pasuk Hashem Teshivim or Lo Yisuchal Salim, doesn't mean you have to pick it up. Make sure to pick it up, or make sure you reach the house of the owner. If you learn this, reach the house of the owner, he doesn't reach the house of the owner, so the chiyuv doesn't start. If it means pick it up, right now you can pick it up. So more take. If it would be his own item, he would schlep it, so he has to do it for his friend too, even though usually he doesn't schlep for other people. But by Aved, he has to treat it the way he treats his own. We talk about an animal that's has a load. You have to help the animal to unload or to load. So B'Shchaver has to help his friend as well when he sees that his friend is in need. Who's going in the way, who sees this man. So he was schlepping a load of wood. Or svinu, he put it down. He was taking a little rest. He tells Rabbi Shmuel, please pick it up for me. Help me pick it up. How much is it worth? It's worth half a zuz. Give him the palget the zuz. So he said, I'm going to buy it for you. Instead of helping you, I don't want to help you. because it's not a fikvoidoi, but you need your help. So instead of helping you, I'm going to pay you half a zuz, and I'll take it to myself. The afker, then he was mafkir. Why? So first you explain, to show you he didn't schlep his own either. So even though it was his, he doesn't schlep it. So he was mafkir. Then this guy took it again. How do you have the Pagaz Zuz? Again, he gave him half a Zuz. The afker did afker again. This guy saw, oh man, I'm going to make now a huge profit. I'm going to take it every time. I'm mafkir to everybody. I'm not mafkir to you. Says the Gemara, does Efker work that way? We learn the Mishnah. If you mafkir only to the poor, that's Efker. Efker means that it's completely ownerless. Anybody can take it. Like Shmito. As we learned in the beginning of the parak, that's the difference between Hefker and Yush. Yush means the owner takes his mind out of it. Hefker is you take it out of your Rishus. Take out of Rishus means everybody has the right to take it. So here I can be mafkir for everybody but this guy. It says the more really he was mafkir to everybody. And he just wanted to tell him this thing in order for him not to be Zoich. Says the Gemara, why was Bishmol doing that? He doesn't have to help this guy. So he's an old man, the old man doesn't have to pick it up. Says more, he did it l'fnim Mishrasadin. He didn't have to, but he did it l'fnim Mishrasadin. That's this we learned in Mesech Balakal. That's the Beis Chayim. That's the Beis Chayim. What's Beis Chayim? So Rashi says over here, Beis Chayim lilmed b'hem umnus pernosa. And Rashi in Bava Kama says Beis Chayim is to learn Torah. So the Maharal says, the base of the Maharal comes as both, because the base Torah is Torah Shesh Malacha. So it's how to combine Malacha and Torah together. And so there's the Gmilos Chasadim to do Chesed. Yelchu Boz B'Kucholim, which especially one's going to say soon. Zu Kvura to bury. Vesamaise Ze'adin, and the Maise is the Din. That's what you have to do. Shayasu is the Fim Shas Din. But we went into how everything really is. You learn from here. Datalem is Yoshin Yediyah, is where you connect to. Saderech is what Ma'urach, Mafatarach was their way. Yelchu is a special alicha, as I was going to say in a moment. Zu, it's only that only benefit you have is the kavor, you don't get any benefit back because the chesed shel emes. Vesamai says adin. Now what you have to do is sheyasu l'fnim mishras adin. Special pasuk says to go l'fnim mishras adin. The more goes on, it says Omar Yelchu zu bikuchoyim. Haynu gmilos chasadim. We say gmilos chasadim. Why are you saying bikuchoyim? So one l'nitzuchoy lebin giloi. Someone is exactly his age. We all have a man. Ben giloi. A person who is the same age of the person who's sick, he takes 1 out of 60 of the sickness on himself. So there's a special din in Bikucholim to go even though the person is Ben Gilui, someone has the same mazel, he needs to what? He needs to do a special. Even though he takes a little bit of the sickness for himself, he should do it. Zu Kvura, so again, I use Chasadim, Kvura is Chasadim. So as I tell you, the Chiddush is that it's coming to exclude that a Zokah and Fichvaidoi, they have to do it also. So even though usually we have a din, a Zokah and Fichvaidoi doesn't have to do it, but Kvura is different. Kvura, you have to bury a mace even if it's not your covered. Ashayasu to the Fim Shuasadin. Very strong sentence of the Gemara. The Churban Abayis happened. They didn't do the Torah. So what do you mean? You wouldn't even do a din of not Torah? Din of thieves? They did din Torah to the letter of the law, and they didn't go the free mishrasadim. So Chav Yerushalayim, they should go the free mishrasadim. So here we're ma'ich, and this is a short machshava, but I'll just mention here 2 points. That the Baalei Musa say over here, you see the Torah, what the Torah is giving us is the letter of the law. But a person always should thrive to do more than the letter of the law. The similar as we found, G'dayshim Tiyu, Kaddish atzvcha mutar l'cha. You're allowed to do things, but do more. Also here, the Torah tells you what you deserve, what you don't deserve. Only Lifnim Shasadim, don't demand what you deserve the whole time. That is not the right thing. A person has to do Lifnim Shasadim. And here there's a very big question. Please ask this question. The Gemara says over here, the Churban Abayis happened because they were so strict. Says Taisis, the Gemara tells us in Yuma the reason they had Churban Abayis because of Sinas Chinam, because of hatred. So is it because of hatred, or is it because So maybe we'll just start with the Shalom Yeshiva, and the Sefer Divrei Shol says very simple. Because they hated each other, that's why they're so strict. They didn't want to give up on anything because they hated. If you love each other, they want to be more mivat. Okay, simple word it's that. The Maharal in the second answer says, and that's what many of the first say, is that the Sinas Chinim caused they had a big punishment, but Kadosh Baruch Hu would be mivater in it. Kadosh Baruch Hu would be more lenient for them. He was so strict and punished them for Churban Abayis because they were so strict as well. They were not willing to be mivater. So also the Kadosh Baruch Hu was not mivater to them. That's what he says. And finally, one another answer. Then we're in the Chassidus. We're just going to mention how he says the Maskana. He says there were two groups in Am Yisrael. The simple people hated each other, but the Talmidei Chacham did not hate each other. They didn't hate the people, but they didn't go to the Lifnim Shasadim. He says because the Gemara brings the person you know doesn't have Eiro, so you're allowed to hate him. Says Tais is there, but at least don't show it to him. Should not cause more hatred. Says to show that's called Lifnim Shasadim. So the Chachamim showed hatred to people who are doing Averis. They didn't do Lifnim Shasadim not to show it. So the Chachamim did the problem of Lifnim Shasadim. The regular people were Sinas Chinam. So together, combined together, you add here the Churban Abayis, and that's why these two things come together. So really, the Gemara says over here that it's called Lifnim Shasadim, and then there is the other answer because of Sinah. But just to add one last thing to this. Now, really, the Kashuni says based on the Maharal, because the Kashuni asks, the Chassidus brings in a suggestion. Maybe you can answer it by Srisha, by Sheni. By Srisha was because of the Torah, and by Sheni because Sinas Chinam. As it can be, because the Yerushalmi says that by Srisha, because Baruch says, I'm willing to give up on the Gimel Averis Chamurs. Of the Zara, Shechas Damim, give a rice, I'm willing to give it up. But Ozom Terosi, I'm not giving up. The fact that left the Torah, that I'm not giving up. I'm not letting go. So it says the Kashuni, why is letting go the first three? If they're Ma'amidim al Divrei Torah, Baruch would not let go. If they're Midah Keneged Midah, the fact that they did, the fact that Baruch was allowed to let go and by Rishon, that means that by Rishon they did Lifnim Shasadim. So therefore, it has to be by Sheni. So I studied by Sheni. Why is this the reason? The reason is because of Sinas Chinam. So a nice short machshava. We should listen. We'll stop over here in the Mishnah. Start back in Shabbos, Be'ez Hashem. Starting from the Mishnah, and we'll take it from there.